Hi, this is Jeannie at Trendy Tree, and today I'm going to make a bow using the EZ Bowmaker. The EZ Bowmaker is this wooden piece, and it has a label, clear label on it that has markings for you, and it has these pegs. This is the peg that holds your bow, and then this is the peg that holds your ribbon. Now, the EZ Bowmaker comes in a box, and when you receive it, you have to tap these pegs into these holes with a hammer. You'll think they're not going to fit if you just try to put them in with your hands, but if you tap them in with a hammer, they will. Now, you'll see that the EZ Bowmaker has another hole right there, and there's a little short peg that will go in that. That's for if you're making smaller bows, like hair bows or something like that, and I'm not using that, so I left that peg out. I'm going to make a bow using 4 different ribbons. I have two 2.5-inch ribbons. All these ribbons are from Trendy Tree, and if you haven't been to Trendy Tree is Carrie's website, and she sells all sorts of wreath making supplies, everything from mesh, ribbon, wreath forms, silk flowers, signs, just all kinds of things. So we're going to start out with this 2.5-inch ribbon, and y'all, I've got my camera set up here. I hope it's not going to be in the way too much, but I'm going to make, this is going to be a wreath bow, and I'm going to make making a wreath. That'll be on another tutorial, and I'm planning to put about 3 bows on it. So I want to make my bow about a 16-inch bow, so or I say a 14-inch bow. So I'm going to start out with let me put my ribbon on that side. I'm going to start out with about a 7-inch tail. I'm just going to measure at that 7-inch mark, and then I'm going to pinch it up. I'm going to make my tail longer than that. If my bow is 7 inches, of course I have 7 inches on this side, 7 inches on this side, so that's going to make about a 14-inch bow. So if I have a 14-inch bow, I want my tails a little longer, so I'm going to make them about 9 inches, and then I'm going to pinch that together. I'm having to reach around my camera holder, y'all, and then I'm going to twist and get that wrong side up, and then I'm going to slide it right down in the bow maker. Okay, and I'm going to just pull that down, and that will be my first tail, and I have my right side of the ribbon facing down, so I'm going to come out to the 7-inch mark and make a loop, and come back to the center. Going to pinch that together and go ahead and twist that ribbon and put your pretty side down, and I'm going to come out and make another 7-inch loop, pinch that, and I'm going to finish this loop off, so I'm going to leave that right side up, and I'm going to come down and cut that tail off. Now you can chevron those tails now, or dovetail them, or do them later, either one. For right now, I'm going to leave them, and then I will come back and I'll finish that at the end. So I've got a 7-inch loop on each side, so that's going to give me a 14-inch bow. So now I'm going to choose a different ribbon. I'm going to use a 1.5-inch ribbon, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to measure that tail. And this ribbon really doesn't have a right and a wrong side, but I'm going to keep twisting just like I always do, just to keep my same pattern going. So I'm going to pull that tail down. I'm going to come out here, and for right now I'm going to make another 7-inch loop. Find my center point, pinch that together, twist, and then drop it down in the slot. Make a 7-inch loop on this side. Okay, and then bring that down and cut that tail off. Okay. Next, I'm going to use another 2.5-inch ribbon. I'm going to measure that tail, pinch, Go ahead and twist that right side down, slide that down, pull that down from my tail. I'm gonna make another 7-inch loop. Measure 7, come back to the center, pinch. Turn that wrong side up, slide that down. Make another 7-inch loop. Just pinch that up, come back to the center, and pull that tail down. Okay, so now I've still got one more ribbon, hang on. This is another 1.5-inch ribbon. Measure that tail, and it doesn't have a right or wrong side either. We're just going to slide that down. This one I'm just going to turn, and you really can't tell the right or wrong side at all, so I'm not going to do any twisting on this one and just see how that works. Make a 7-inch loop on that side. Okay. Come down, cut that tail off. Okay, so now I've used all 4 of my ribbons, and now I'm going to go back and I'm going to make another set of loops, but I'm going to make these just a little bit smaller than the first. So I'm going to take my honeybee ribbon, pinch it, twist it, get the wrong side up, slide it down in there, pull that down from my tail. This time I'm going to make my loop about 6 inches. That back to the center, pinch it, twist, go down in the slot. You can see that loop is going to be a little bit smaller, and you can see my loops out here are not exactly perfect. That's okay. I'm going to come out and make another 6-inch loop on this side. Pinch. Slide it down in the slot. Come down and make my tail. Cut it off. Okay. It's getting a big stack of ribbon. Okay, so now we're going to start with the cream. Measure my tail. I'm just going to pinch, slide down, and this one is the same on both sides, so I'm not going to twist. I'm going to go ahead and make it about 6 inches. Loop on one side, 6 inches. Tail off. All right, so now I'm ready for another 2.5-inch ribbon. Oops, sorry. Make that tail, pinch it together, twist, bring that tail to the front, make that loop. This loop is going to be about 5 inches. We're going to make it a little bit smaller. Pinch that together, twist. Maybe not quite 5 inches, but a little bit smaller than that last cream ribbon. Bring that forward. Cut that tail off. Okay. Now our last ribbon is going to be this bright yellow. And on this one, we're going to make our tail. We're going to make our loop even a little bit smaller. I'm just kind of measuring by based on that black ribbon. Just make it a little bit smaller than that. And on this ribbon, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make a couple of extra loops. I think I'm going to use 4, all the same size. Alright, so now we have 4 loops of the yellow on each, or 2 loops on each side, and now I need to make a center loop, so it's going to be just a little small loop, just a couple of inches. Okay, and then we're going to bring the tail down. We're going to cut that off. Okay, now this is sort of the hard part, you know, getting your ribbon off when I've got this many ribbons. Now, if you did not have this many ribbons, it would not be as hard. But we're going to just kind of gently try to lift that stack of ribbons off, kind of hold them in place. Okay, now this is kind of hard. I'm going to take a chenille stem and go around that stack. It's quite a lot to hold. Okay, it's quite a lot to hold, but I'm going to bring that zip tie around to the bottom. But now I'm going to snug it up some, but before I close it, I'm going to slide a chenille stem in, and this is what I'm going to use to secure my bow to my wreath. So now I'm ready to tighten that zip tie. I want to make that stack as tight as I can. So I'm just going to pull that, and then I'm going to snip off the end of that zip tie with some wire cutters. Okay, so now I have my chenille stem. Just give that a couple of twists to use to attach my bow. So now I'm ready to fluff out my bow. So I'm just going to lay that down, that little center bow. We're going to just pull over to the center, but I'm going to start kind of fluffing out my bow from the bottom. So I'm going to start pulling the tails down to the front. I'm going to pull, that was my first ribbon. And then I'm going to go with my next ribbon and just kind of separate that, pull the tail down to the front. Got a lot of loops. And I'm just going to keep separating those, pulling the tails down to the front, and just keep fluffing my ribbon until I get my bow looking like I want it to. Okay, now that's a lot of ribbon in a bow. I mean, that's 4 different ribbons, 2 different sizes, so that's a lot of ribbon in a bow. You may want to start out just making one, you know, just start out with making one with just one kind of ribbon or just one size of ribbon, and then just kind of gradually work up to adding, you know, more ribbons. The more ribbon you have is a little bit more difficult. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to dovetail the ends of the ribbon, and I'm just going to fold that and cut away, and that makes a dovetail. Now I like to just dovetail the ends of my 2.5 inch ribbon, and on my 1.5 I like to just cut those at an angle. It doesn't matter if your ribbons are not all the same length, that's okay. And if you don't want that many tails, I mean, you can make your bow, you know, a little different and not have that many tails also. what we have well, I see a couple more. I haven't gotten them all yet. Okay. So I have my chenille stem on the back, and I have my bow, and I can attach that to my wreath. Now, if you want to, when you attach your bow, you can attach it with, all the tails coming straight down, or if you want to put it on your wreath and have some of your tails, coming up on the back, you can do that, okay? I just wanted to show you that I made 3 identical bows using those 4 styles of ribbon. But on my last bow, I wound up with just a little short, excuse me. On my last bow, I wound up with just a little short end, not enough to make 2 tails on that last bow, but that's okay. I have my 4 yellow loops and then my little center loop, and I'll show you how we're going to cover that up in just a minute. Okay, see, I've got my zip tie. That's my little short end, and that's my center loop. I've got my zip tie right to the side of that center loop. I'm going to pull that zip tie tight. I've already slid my chenille stem under the zip tie. Pull that tight as I can. Now you've got your chenille stem on the back to attach it to your wreath. So now, this little short end, I'm going to clip off a little shorter. I don't want to clip it so short that it might pull through my loop, but then you just kind of pull that center loop over to cover that up. And you only have 1 tail, but that's okay. It's not noticeable. And then you just fluff out your ribbons. But there's all 3 bows made by the same way. And you see, the one that only has the 1 tail left is not noticeable. Okay. That's 3 large bows, and I still have a little bit of ribbon left out of 3 of the ribbons. I used up all the yellow because I put 4 loops in the center, okay? But we'll put these 3 large bows on the wreath that we're getting ready to make. Thanks for watching. Hope you'll drop in at Trendy Tree. We have almost probably 1,000 different styles of ribbon, wreath forms, signs, and silk flowers, all kinds of things that you need to put on a wreath. And also you can kind of take your ribbon tails if you want to and kind of curl them under just a little bit. This is all wired ribbon. Wired ribbon is much easier to work with for me than anything else. So this is all wired. Okay? Thanks for dropping in. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.